My dog is snoring, so these are the sounds that you hear. Okay, let's go. Hey guys, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. I haven't been filming in a long time in this chair because I've been a bit sick. If I sound nasally, yeah, it's because I'm sick. It's not COVID though. Yeah, first of all, how are you guys? Let me know how are you doing in the comments. I'm doing okay. I've been a bit overwhelmed lately, which I explained a bit in my vlog. As always, because of the current situation, I will link resources down below that I find trustworthy and loyal and reliable. So if you want any sources to donate to help the crisis, to educate yourself on the matter, then make sure to check my description box. Some of you might wonder why I do this in every video, but I just think it's important to acknowledge this situation, even though I as a channel obviously want to be some sort of distraction, some sort of comfort for you guys, but obviously I just can't do that without being aware and letting other people be aware of the current crisis. So I will remind you of the things at the end of this video, but today we will be talking about sort of like a summary of my first semester at university. And Julie, one of my closest friends, gave me the idea of summarizing or talking about the first semester, what I learned about myself, what I learned about university in general, and sort of maybe the pros and cons, what I liked, what I didn't like. Since I've been filming my first week, my finals weeks, and all that, I thought, and study vlogs, I thought, why not do this? So here we are. I'm quite excited. I wrote everything down in this cute little notebook. So let's see. I have divided this video into two parts. First of all, the study section, where I'm going to talk about what I'm actually studying, what I liked about the studies, what kind of things I learned, and then we're going to talk about what I learned about myself and also about the outside facts, such as social situations, sort of like finding friends, dealing with university in general. So yeah, I hope you stay tuned, and maybe this is something exciting for people who are still in school, still in high school, or in general want to study, or just my viewers who are always loyal and watch my videos. Okay, I think we're going to start. Starting with what I'm actually studying, if you're new here, I study Anglistik, meaning English, the linguistics and literature aspects of the language at the LMU in Munich. Yeah, let's talk about what these things are. So literature, I think everyone is kind of familiar with the things. So novels, poetry, narration, all that stuff. And I had two introduction classes. So I had Introduction to Literature and Introduction to Linguistics. What I can say is that I like literature more, and I already know that I'm going to go into that field more in the future. So with each new semester, you're able to select more courses that you want, but we had to do these kind of modules, so we were able to continue studying. So as I said, I have an affinity towards literature, but the linguistical aspects that I was able to kind of get introduced to were also very, very interesting. So linguistics kind of breaks down language, what it is. I had two classes, so introduction, where we learned a lot of termina, a lot of things that I never really cared about. So we talked about semantics, we talked about syntax, we talked about morphemes, allophones, phonemes, phonetics. I had to transcribe words. So yeah, things that I never thought I would do or study or be able to do. So I don't know, I'm going to insert some pictures. It's quite a lot. At the beginning I thought, oh holy shit, this is going to be so much to study, and it is. I was lucky that my exams were, most of them at least, open book exams. So while I was doing the exam, we're going to talk about exams by the way later in the video, I was able to look into my my sources, my notes, but I can imagine that others find it pretty difficult, especially if I had to learn all that by heart. So yeah, it was a lot that I didn't know, but it was also very interesting, and after a while it was actually kind of fun to break down sentences, to analyze sentences in itself. Next to my major subject, which is Anglistik, I also have a minor subject. So if you're studying something that is perhaps not medicine or law or whatever, you might have to take a minor subject in which you have to earn points. Like for us, it's ECTs. There's a variety of subjects that I could have chosen. I'm, by the way, not talking about how you do things, because every single university is completely different, can be quite complicated, but just so you know, some subjects that you want to study do acquire a minor subject, which is not bad, by the way. So I selected SLK, which means Sprache, Literatur und Kultur, so language, literature, and culture. And we had to take one basis module, which introduces you to literature and linguistics. So the same stuff I had in my major subject, I now had, but in German, which was also cool. It was fun, actually. So 1 week we had literature and 1 week we had linguistics, because the minor subject is not as big. And I also chose a language, which I was able to do, and I selected French, which is a language I always wanted to learn. But as I said, I had Latin in high school, which, by the way, was great. I'm really happy that I did, but I would have loved to choose French, because I think French is such a beautiful language and it has a lot of influences on literature, on art that I really like. So I was happy to select it, and we had that twice a week. Everything else I had once a week, and my timetable, which was not as efficiently planned as I would have liked it to be, but I was a noob, I didn't know much. Upon the fact that I didn't know a lot while selecting courses and stuff, it was okay. I had a maximum of 2 classes a day, and a very important thing I think I need to mention is everything was online, which will not be the case in the summer semester, so I'm going to take you with me and document all that, and I think I'm going to be very tired, because if you didn't know, I don't live near my university. It takes me around 2.5 hours to go there from my home to university, so that's quite a long trip. But yeah, just as a lot of people, I do not have the capacity of living in Munich. It's just, no, I can't. If you didn't know, I live on the Bavarian countryside, so near the mountains, which is beautiful, but not very near. Anyway, let's talk about how everything was for me online. I had one class which was Introduction to Linguistics, which used to be in the beginning on campus, but as the numbers of infected people grew, my teacher then also decided, or my professor, whatever, then decided to also take it online, because my subject, my studies, it's just very easy to do everything online. It was great. I loved studying from home. There was nothing better, I believe. I will get to the downsides of it when we come to the social part of this video, but from the studies section, I loved it. I loved going to the classes. I loved just being able to have breakfast with my mom every day. I loved waking up at a very easy time for me and just go onto my laptop and take the classes, work on my own and do all that stuff. It was so great without the additional stress of going there, not being able to find the rooms or something. So I loved studying online, and I'm very, very sad that apparently it's not going to be that case in the future. I get why universities don't want to do that if they're not a Fernuni, so basically you're able to do everything online and it's not on campus. I just loved the offer of taking everything online. I loved it. And yeah, I will certainly miss it. And I can't understand why some unis already decided, so yeah, everything will be on campus, when the numbers are very much rising at a very high pace. But yeah, I'm quite worried, because apparently everyone thinks that the pandemic is done. If you live in Germany and you see the rising numbers, it's insane. And yeah, I'm worried about the next semester. But let's talk about the first one. So I had class every day. Most of the time I had 1 class a day, and yeah, it was very chill. Everything was just super, super chill. It will continue to grow, obviously. The amount of classes I have to take next semester is already more than that. But for first semester, I was not drowning in work, which I was worried about. Let's talk about the fact that it did not feel like school at all, like high school, meaning there wasn't that much pressure. So because I wasn't in a situation where I had lots of people around me and also lots of people that studied the same thing, there was no competition. I do not have the feeling of, oh, I need to compete with anybody, I need to be better than other people, which sometimes I had in school, which then later diminished. Subjects like English, I was very much pressuring myself to have good grades and be one of the best students in class. But now studying English, I don't have that feeling at all. I gotta say, I'm studying to get my bachelor degree and others are studying to be teachers. So you don't even have the same classes, everyone has different professors, and lots of things are very dependent on the teacher, on the professor, but we're going to talk about that in a second. So yeah, I did not feel pressure at all. I did not feel like I couldn't talk to anyone. The professors are so nice, and I did not feel stupid while asking questions, but we're going to talk about that later. I loved the things that I learned. I loved every second of it, and it was so much fun. I was sitting in my class and I thought, oh my god, this is so interesting. And I had a different realization, which is going to be the second part of the video, but I loved everything, and I'm so happy that I found something that I love doing. And even though some subjects might not sound as interesting, especially my next semester, the literature aspect is very slim, which I'm quite sad about because that was my favorite subject. But I know that in the future, if I work hard, I just know that it's going to be very efficient for me in the future to study through the things that I am not as interested in, to then get to the things that I am able to select more freely, and then am able to study more of the things that I like. So powering through the things that I don't have a huge interest for is not nearly as hard as it was in school. Just things that I didn't like in school were so hard. In the end, it wasn't about liking anything anymore. There was just no interest for any subject. I mean, yes, English, yes, and there were interesting things in art, which I had as in my A-levels, but throughout the years, my enthusiasm for things, for knowledge, really dwindled in school. Everything was just about grades, about graduating, about getting through to the next exam, and then getting to the holidays. And it was just a horrible thing, because I realized how much fun it is to actually learn and actually study and get to know new things. And I obviously think that it's connected to the subject because I'm studying something that I love. English language is one of my favorite things in the world. But it just made me realize that I actually like knowing things. But we're going to talk about that more later. How many times do I say this? Take a shot every time. So let's talk a bit about exams. Exams are at the end of the semester. It depends on your professor what kind of exams you will do. So I had, wait, 1, 2, 3 out of the 4 major tactics or versions of an exam. So I had a classical exam where I had to go to the school, which I also filmed, by the way. I'm going to leave everything on the I had to go to university and take the exam. I had assignments, which is one of my favorite things. So throughout the semester I got assignments for especially my introduction to literature class, and I had to hand them in on a certain deadline. And since the assignments were a lot of fun, I loved doing them. So that's a method that I was able to be graded in. You can also have presentations, like oral exams. I did not have that, which some of my friends found very irritating. They were like, what? You didn't have to do a presentation yet? And I was like, no, I didn't. So I'm excited to see what that's like. And essays. I had to write critical essays for some of my assignments, but I also had to write an essay in an exam. That was easy when you know the topic. So it was not as structured as high school, and I do not have all my results yet. I passed linguistics, I passed my modules in my minor subject. I'm pretty sure I passed literature because my professor said to not be worried, and I was pretty good in that, and I loved it because I loved it. The grades that are still missing are my French exam, so I don't know, and literature. The rest of it I passed, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, those are the kind of exam things. Obviously you have different things. You have bigger essays, seminar works, and you know, that fun stuff, which I'm going to document as well. So if you're interested in that and seeing that, then subscribe to my channel. So you will continue to see the documentary of my study life, student life. I think we talked enough about the study section. Let's talk about what I learned about myself and the outside facts. So let's talk about friends. First of all the people I've met so far are incredibly lovely. They're like-minded, and it was amazing how at the first day of like a huge meeting we were taken through the school by elders, and it was a lot of fun. And all the people I've met were like thought the exact same things that I was thinking, and like the same things that I like, and I am so excited to have more contact with these people, because sadly, because I live so far away from them, I couldn't really meet up with them. I couldn't go to like planned evenings or something. Also because most of the time when those things were able to take place, I was hugely depressed and very socially anxious, and I don't want to see anybody. So I hope that with me being exposed to more people in the summer semester and me seeing more people taking classes on campus, that I'm able to kind of build a social system that is here. Because if you didn't know, I did not live here until 2020. So I spent 18 years of my life in the city in the west of Germany, so in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is around 600 kilometers away from where I live now. And I don't have a social system here at all. I don't have any friends that live nearby. Like, I haven't met up with a person for 2 years, except for my friends when they come to visit me or when I come to visit them in the city. So I don't have a social system, as I said, and I'm really excited to hopefully build that. By the way, that's no one's fault but mine. I could have met more people, I could have gotten to know more people, but it's hard. So yeah, that's I think one thing that I will be thriving of in the new semester. For me, it's actually really easy to meet new people. I really like meeting new people, and since I've made the experience of having so many people that are like me, I am really happy. I'm looking forward to that and very positive about that experience, which I hopefully will make in the summer semester. If you're starting your studies this year, if you're starting university next year, whatever, do not be scared to talk to people. I remember coming to this meeting and I was alone, and there were a couple of people already in groups, and they were talking, and then the first 10 minutes I was there, I was then talking to a person, they talked to me, and then slowly we built a huge circle where we were like 10 people and we all introduced ourselves to one another. And if you're studying something that you have a huge interest for, which I, by the way, very recommend, I know that's not a possibility for everybody, and coming out of school it's really hard to figure some things out. I myself took a 1-year break because I had a massive breakdown. No, because I decided to do something completely different, and I am so happy that I made that decision, and it opened up a lot of new doors for me. So if you're scared of something but in your gut you know that it's the right decision to make, do that. Doesn't matter if you're going to earn a bunch of money after your studies, but I recommend studying something that you really like, that you have an interest for or an affinity for, over anything else. And then the social experience will be much more fun, because it was just so much fun to meet people and them speaking English constantly. Because I'm German and I speak English all the time, I constantly got the sentence of, even though I was in English class, like, oh, I speak German, we're in Germany. And I'm like, I'm in English class, can I speak English? So it was fun to talk to people. We were starting in German and then some sentence was English, and no one looked at one another and like, what the hell? Why are you speaking English? Like, no, we were all interested in English. We all talked the same way, and it was just so much fun. So yeah, not hearing the sentence, can you please speak German? It's so annoying, was a great experience. And you know, you're going to break the ice much faster if you find like-minded people, and it can be easier said than done. I just sat with some random people, strangers who I didn't know, and found out that they had the same interests as me, which I do think was a thing of luck, but as I said, it's not as hard as you think. So yeah, I'm very confident that I hopefully will find people, get to know the people that I already found more in the coming semesters. Let's talk a bit about the professors. I actually really liked them all. For me, it was just fun to be able to see what they're able to teach. And that's something I completely forgot when I was in high school. I just looked at my teachers and they were teaching me things that I wasn't excited for, and it was so sad. But now, studying with upcoming teachers, or actually studying the things that teachers have to study, because I'm doing the same things for English, I just found out that I really like the concept of a teacher. It's incredible that you can learn something, get to the bottom of something so much that you're able to teach young people about it. And that was something that I never thought about while going to school. I just thought, oh god, I have to do this. I didn't really think too much about my teachers, but they were all going through these studies because hopefully they were interested in something. And that's something that I've finally got to see while I was studying in my first semester. Seeing people that study specified things or teach specified things, that like, they have to know all this stuff first. And that was so exciting. And suddenly I thought, oh, you know, being a teacher, it could be worse. The last few years in school, I always thought, how can teachers do that? How can people go to school every day for the rest of their lives? And now I think actually it doesn't sound that bad. I will not go into the teaching studies, but I am very much interested in the education of future generations, if they're able to live on this planet, fun, and teaching them how much fun it is, and actually to inspire people to do something, which is something my English teacher did, for example. I always had respect for teachers, always. I always have respect for people, but it made me appreciate them much more. Let's talk about me. So some things I realized about myself during my first half a year, because it hasn't been a year yet of studying. I realized that I loved studying, I loved learning, I loved acquiring knowledge. It's super fun. Like, I'm not talking about the process of, okay, I have to learn this by heart, but being introduced to a new thing, not knowing anything about it, that was something so scary. I kind of grew up with the mentality of I have to know everything, I cannot make mistakes, I have to know everything even before I start. I think that some people can relate to that, especially with anxiety. Good example, I did not know how to drive, obviously, because I never sat in the car and, you know how to drive. But I was so scared before my first driving lesson because I thought, I don't know how to do this. And then my teacher said, of course you don't know how to do this. This is your first lesson. How would you know? And I was so, I don't know why it was such a shock to my system that it was okay to make mistakes, that it was okay to ask questions, that it was okay to not know everything at the beginning of starting new things. I know this sounds very normal for some people, but for some it's really difficult to understand when they grew up with that sort of thinking, I cannot make mistakes because then I will be bad. So making mistakes is still something that is hard for me, but asking questions is something that I'm much more confident about. And you know you have a good teacher when no one reacts in a bad way. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. In my school career, my high school career, I met a lot of people, meaning my teachers, and you kind of get to know your teachers, so you meet them and you get to know them, who just aren't good educators. So when students ask questions and they're met with a reproachful response or even a stupid, funny comment that humiliates them, they're not going to ask questions in the future. And it just made me realize how important it is to meet questions with answers and nothing else. Asking questions for me now is something like asking for an invitation into a topic, asking for information, asking to be invited into a conversation that you don't know too much about. You just want to listen and want to acquire that knowledge, right? And when you kindly ask for something and the teacher just says, no, I'm not going to talk about that, you should know it, or are you stupid for not knowing that? No one is going to ask questions again. No one wants that. And I think that's a huge problem in our education system because some teachers don't even realize it because it's so obvious for them. It might be obvious to other students, but we just have to say it. Not everyone grows up the same way. And asking questions is the first step into acquiring knowledge. The first step into inspiration and enthusiasm towards something. And if these invitations, if these questions aren't met with the same enthusiasm, they will be shut down and there won't be any enthusiasm. So now I am able to ask questions, and I think it says more about the person and about the person's answer and how they approach the answers than me. So when I ask someone and they act like a smart ass for being like, oh, you don't know that? You should know this. Oh, you're so dumb for knowing this. But let me explain, like mansplaining, something like that. I know I won't say, oh God, shit, I'm stupid. I should have known that, like I've done in the past. I know, well, you're an asshole. You could have just told me in a nice way instead of calling me dumb, instead of making me feel like I'm dumb. It is okay to not know things. I know this now. I try to really embrace that and try to convince my system of that it's okay to ask questions, that it is even favored by your professors. So ask questions. For example, I was really interested in Shakespeare, and we were talking about Macbeth, and we had a scene, and we were almost done with that scene about talking about it, but then I had a question in my head, which was completely solely because I was interested in it. Okay, baby. I asked that question and my professor was glad to answer it. So yeah, questions are great. Ask them. And if you are met with a bitchy response, that, by the way, doesn't only apply to teacher, student, it also applies to friends, parents, siblings. You know more about them being a bit of an asshole than you know about yourself being dumb, which you're not. I learned that I'm not dumb. I learned that I'm actually able to do some things, and it was just so much fun to see myself sort of being interested in something and being confident in something. I had a dream. I always wanted to become a very famous, very successful actress. And I uttered that dream for the first time, I think, at 10 years old. And since then, I was shutting myself off of any other opportunities. So I wasn't listening in school when they talked about future professions, when they talked about future goals. I always had that one dream. But with puberty and also my mental health declining, that entire dream was then surrounded by doubt. I didn't even know, am I a good actress? And then other doubts came in there. And if you believe in that one thing, but that is covered in doubt, you don't really believe in it. You have this one thing that you think makes you special, but then you think, wait, can I actually do that? I'm not actually good, am I? And I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I'm not good enough. So shit, who am I? And now I have things that I am confident in, that I can say, hey, I'm good at this. I'm good at poetry. I'm good at analyzing. I can understand Shakespeare. I understand things after actually reading more about them. I like reading. I can see things that are required for this essay. You have the feeling of success, and that is, yes, it is important for studying because that's where the fun comes from. Seeing that you're good at something or that you're able to understand after not understanding it, that is everything that knowledge is and everything that is inspiring you to even open more doors and see, hey, if I'm good at this, what else can I do? So yeah, huge confidence boost on that side. I'm really happy. And it also opened the door that I thought I had closed. So at the beginning of my studies, I thought, okay, I'm not going to become an actress. I'm going to completely disregard that idea, which broke my heart. It just caused more pain. Like, that dream turned into a nightmare. I am a poet, I can say that. But now finding more confidence in myself throughout, obviously, therapy and through studying something that I'm able to see success in, that I'm able to see, oh, I am good enough. I'm able to look through that door and realistically see that dream and say, you know what? If I want to, after my studying, I'm able to do that. And I can take classes and I can see what I want. And it's not an all or nothing situation, which I like to do, which is something personal. But yeah, this is getting very philosophical and very therapeutic. But yeah, again, as I said, it was just great to see that with that feeling of, oh, I am good enough. I am able to do something. And if I'm not at the beginning, I am able to actually accomplish the things that I wasn't confident in. It was just, you know, it's just great. It's just great. This is not to discourage anyone who might not be as good in their studies. I'm not the best, obviously. I do not aspire to be the best. I do not. I am just happy. And when people ask me, what do you want to do when you're older? What do you want to do when you have your degree? I have no idea. I mean, I have some ideas, but I don't know yet. I'm just happy to finally have fun getting to know something, learning, studying something. And yeah, I'm just relishing in that feeling right now. So yeah, it just opened a lot of doors and yeah, made me more confident. We love that. Oh, sorry. Okay, I finally found something that I completely lost in school, which was never in my conscious brain while going to school. And I never understood how some of my friends were just happy to go to school in the last few years. I mean, I did go to school, I ditched a lot too. My grades weren't bad. I was always an average to good student, but I never loved learning. I never loved going to class and seeing something new and learning something new, which is so sad. And I think that's something that school completely took away from me and life in general. But I'm just happy that I'm able to do that again and see that knowledge is great. And it's fun. It can be fun. I'm just sad that school, sadly, couldn't provide that for me. I hope that that's not the case for everybody. But I think this is an advice for everybody who, for example, hated school and now thinks I'm never going to study anything because I hate studying. That might not be the case. It might be the case that you didn't like the things that you were supposed to study, that you were forced to study in school. But it does not mean that you hate studying, that you hate acquiring knowledge. That's not the case. It can be something completely different. And I'm saying that with 100% of confidence because it was the case for me. I did not like watching documentaries that much. I did not like acquiring knowledge, as I said, in my free time because it wasn't interesting, because I thought this is just not something that I like. But it is. And you realize that it is a foundation for everything in life. So yeah, wow, this is getting so far-fetched. So yeah, and the last point I wrote down is new passions and interests were unlocked. So yeah, examples, French, poetry in general, which intimidates a lot of people, but now as I love writing, I love reading it, it's just great. And yeah, it's just great. I love it. I'm very, very happy, and I realized that after the first 2 weeks, and I am aware of more things coming. I am aware of more work that will be asked of me in the future semesters, but I am so confident that I will be able to finish these studies and get my degree because it's just something that is so much fun. And I know that even though some subjects might not be that interesting for me, I know that it will inspire me regardless. Okay, yeah, I think this was the video. I don't know how structured it will be. I just talked. I'm so happy that I made this, because otherwise this video would have been all over the place, and maybe it was, but if you've been here for some time, then you know that I just am all over the place. I think this is what my background also kind of represents. Anyway, we're done with this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and comment down below what you would like to see next. If you want to tell me something about your experiences, maybe you're already done with university, you're just done with high school, you are currently in high school and want to study something, or you have no idea, just let me know. I want to get to know you guys better, and I love reading your comments. So yeah, if you want to tell me anything at all, then please tell me. Okay. As always, I will leave resources, links down below, so you can educate yourself, donate if you want to, and if you have any reliable and trustworthy sources, as always, leave them down below for all the people, and including me. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, and don't forget to click the little bell next to the subscription button to never miss an upload. And if you want to be part of this sort of journey and maybe see me graduate in 2 years. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hopefully see you in my next video. Bye! I talked so much. First of all, we had, that wasn't nice. And that has a lot of things to do with, and it's just, okay, I have to do another video. Bye! Ugh, I hope this wasn't the case the entire time of the video. I hate this strand of hair. Anyway, bye.